Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here, the lab coat's on back order, and it's time for episode number 74 in our series of Pokemon TCG live online matches. As you can see from the layout down below my face, we are focusing on another Pokemon GX from the Sun and Moon expansion, Solgaleo-GX. First of all, side question, how do you pronounce that name? I've heard many different pronunciations. I go with Solgaleo because it sounds like Sol for solar, Galio for galaxy, and Leo, so Solgaleo. I've heard people call it Solgaleo, which also makes sense, I guess, but I don't know. That's a random tangent question, but feel free to leave a comment down below on how you pronounce Solgaleo, Solgaleo, whichever you pronounce it. But anyway, as you can see, it is going to focus on that as the GX, but not really the main attacker in this deck, which I'm calling Icana's Fortification. If you know who Icana is, you've been watching the Pokemon Sun playthrough. It is, of course, my Palossand that I got from my nephew in trade as part of my main team. But before we talk about good old Icana, let's talk about Solgaleo-GX itself. Of course, Metal-type Pokemon with 250 HP. The ability is very nice. I will say, starting right off the bat here, this is another one of my decks where, yes, if the person on the other side has Hex Maniac or Garbotoxin, it's going to shut down some of the ideas I have for the deck. I'm okay with that. I'm a player that loves abilities, and I play the game for fun, not super competitively, but I try to win, of course, as much as I can. And if I face an opponent that shuts down my abilities, so be it. I'm going to just have to live with that the rest of my life, or at least until that match is done. But anyway, the ability is very good. Ultra Road. Once during your turn, before your attack, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. Very cool. I might want to combine that with maybe the Wing Buzz of Ninjask at some point. We could just kind of keep burning out cards from the opponent's deck, but anyway, that's a whole side story. That's not what's happening in this episode. This episode is going to focus on good old Icana. But for Sunsteel Strike, for 2 metal and 1 color, Sunsteel Strike does 230 and discard all energy from this Pokemon. I am not likely to use that in the battle unless I'm going to finish off the match with it, because Solgaleo-GX is mostly here for the GX attack Soul Burst GX for a single metal energy. Search your deck for up to 5 energy cards, basic or special, it does not specify either or, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. So this is a good early game setup attack. If you can get that off very quickly, get Solgaleo-GX in play as soon as you can, and you can just immediately attach 5 of any kind of energy to any of your Pokemon. Very cool. There are 2 Solgaleo-GX in the deck. I have a single Cosmo-M. We're going to use that for evolution, but there's also rare candy in the deck as well. And I've got 3 Cosmog just to evolve up. And if it happens to be in the active spot, good old Nebby here can just use Dust Gathering, drawing a card. Kind of speeding things up a slight tiny little bit. But, as I say, the main attacker is going to be one of the 2 Palossand that we have in the deck. This is a 130 HP fighting Pokemon with the ability Wall of Sand. This Pokemon already takes 20 less damage from attacks, so it's like a built-in hard charm in the form of the ability. And Absorb Vitality for 1 fighting, 3 colorless, 50 damage. Heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. Alright, that's all well and good, you can heal 50 damage, but the idea with this, I'm going to use Solgaleo-GX to look for 4 strong energy and attach them to Icana, our Palossand, with each strong energy adding 20 more damage. I'm doing 130 damage with Absorb Vitality. That's going to be a full heal for our Palossand. Well, technically not a full heal, because if he had 130 damage, he'd be knocked out, but we're going to be able to heal back whatever amount of damage that he has, as long as he's not going to be knocked out, whatever, and get back to full health. Plus, like I say, the Wall of Sand reduces all further damage by 20. So I got 2 Palossand and 3 Sandygast. Not a lot of Pokemon in the deck, so I added 3 of the basic Unknown with the Farewell Letter ability. And again, if the abilities get shut off, this deck kind of slows down quite a bit. But Farewell Letter, if Unknown is on your bench, you can discard it from the bench, not counting as a knockout, draw another card. So it's going to speed things up a slight little bit as well. I do have other draw support in the deck I'll show you in a moment. But let's just scroll down to the energy. You'll see a nice wide assortment of various kind of energy. We have 2 2 shield energy, since the Soul Burst attack does allow you to attach special energy from the deck. I thought, why not throw a couple of special metal energy in here? So this card can only be attached to metal Pokemon, and it provides metal energy while it's attached to them. Any damage done to the metal Pokemon this card is attached to by an opponent's attack is reduced by 10. So it's going to help boost up the defenses of Solgaleo-GX. Problem is, if I do launch the Sunsteel Strike, all energy gets discarded, including the shield energy, and there's not as many simple ways to get that energy back. So that's why I say we're not going to probably see the Sunsteel Strike unless it's going to end off the match. Anyway, we got 4 strong energy, as I said. Each one can only attach to a fighting Pokemon, adding 20 damage to that fighting Pokemon's attacks. I've got 5 basic fighting and 2 basic metal in there as well. So I can draw something out with the Professor's Letter I'll show you in a second. Just basically powering up the Soul Burst GX with a single metal energy. So that is 13 energy cards for the deck. Now, starting with the trainer cards, we have the pair, I was saying a couple of pairs. No, we have one pair of a couple of big Palossand, healing 20 damage from your active Pokemon, and 1 special condition. That might not come into play that much. In fact, I might want to change something right now. Because once we do have the Ultra Road ability in play, we don't need to heal a special condition. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm doing some active, on-the-fly deck editing. I want to add some more evolution options in here. So I'm going to take one of the Malassadas out. I'm going to grab Wally. Because Wally does allow for a Pokemon GX. Alright, I have Wally in there. Never mind. Let's put that Malasada back in. What am I thinking? But yes, Wally does allow for an evolution into whatever stage Pokemon is next, except for Pokemon EX. But there are no EXs in the deck. Wally allows for Cosmo M to evolve into Solgaleo-GX immediately. Anyhow, so there are 2 big Malassadas back in the deck. 2 basic energy retrievals, bringing back 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile. 1 Evo Soda for evolution purposes, of course. Got a pair of Nest Balls to search for a basic Pokemon from your deck and put it straight onto your bench. 2 Professor's Letters, finding 2 basic energy from your deck and putting them into hand. A couple of rare candies to make sure we can get our Cosmog evolved into Solgaleo-GX on a single turn. Well, the Cosmog would have to be in play for 1 turn, and then the rare candy can be used next turn, but not having to evolve up through Cosmo M, you already got Solgaleo-GX ready to roll. And 2 special charges, so if we do happen to use the Sunsteel Strike and lose those 2 metal energy from Solgaleo-GX, I can at least shuffle those 2 back in using special charge. Shuffle 2 special energy cards from the discard pile back into the deck. I wonder if I should use Puzzle of Time. That could be an idea. Huh. Now, I will leave it as it is for now, but Puzzle of Time would be pretty good if I put 2 of those in. I could play both and choose any other 2 cards from the discard pile and bring into hand. That might be something we can talk about in the outro when I talk about how to boof up this deck, yeah. Beef up, boost up this deck. There we go. I always have to do that, explain both words that I was trying to say when my brain merges them into one. It's like a fusion ha from Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, we've got 2 Super Rods, shuffling back 3 cards, any combination of Pokemon or basic energy. We have 2 Timer Balls, which I'm not really super keen on using because it's all coin flips, but it might come in handy. Flip 2 coins for each heads, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So, if all goes well, I have basically a 50% chance on each flip to get 1 evolution card, and with 2 flips, if everything works out well, I'll be getting at least 1 evolved Pokemon with each use of Timer Ball. Does that mean I'm going to get 2 heads or 1 heads or whatever? Let's find out. But I've got 2 Ultra Balls as well. Discard 2 cards from hand and search your deck for any Pokemon, taking it back into your hand. And a couple of Versus Seekers are the last items in the deck. Going to bring back some supporters from the discard pile. And for our draw support, in addition to the unknown, we have Scorched Earth. That's why I have basic fighting energy in the deck. Once during each player's turn, you may discard a fire or fighting energy from your hand, and if so, draw 2 additional cards. Now, we got a number of supporters in here. We're starting off with a Bridget. Essentially, Bridget is like 3 Nest Balls and a single card if you're not using Pokemon EX. She lets you search your deck for 3 basic Pokemon, or 1 basic EX, and put those Pokemon onto your bench immediately. So definitely going to speed things up. I've used her on occasion to get 3 unknown down, and then just simply farewell letter each of them and draw 3 extra cards. So it speeds things up a little bit quite nicely. I've got Alima here for kind of a reshuffling support. Each player shuffles the hand into the deck and flips a coin. With a flip of heads, you draw 6 cards. With a flip of coin, you draw 3. Or with a flip of coin, with a flip of tails, you draw 3. And we also have Lysandre in the deck, of course, choosing an opponent's opposing benched Pokemon and bring it to the active spot. Could possibly bring something up that is getting charged up on the bench and take it down before it can do any damage back to you. I've got N as well, each player shuffling their hand into the deck and drawing 1 card for every remaining prize card that they have on their side. Pokemon Sunne Lady for more healing, 60 damage, and all special conditions, using Pokemon Sunne Lady for your active Pokemon. And we have, well, you can also use her on the bench, but you can't heal special conditions from the bench. There are no special conditions on the bench. We also got Kukui. The idea with Kukui here, you draw 2 cards, and during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So I can use that for good old Icona, the Palossand, and adding 20 more damage to the Absorb Vitality, adding 20 more healing to the effect of that attack. We also have a Professor Sycamore, of course. Discard your hand and draw 7 fresh cards from the deck. 2 Skylas to look for any other trainer card in the deck. If it's an item, stadium, I can play that immediately. If it's a supporter, I can set that up for the next turn. And of course, there is that Wally I was so eager to put into the deck. As I said, search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon, except for an EX, and put it onto that Pokemon. You can use this on the very turn that that Pokemon first gets put into play. That is going to be it for this deck. We've got 14 Pokemon, 33 trainers, and 13 energy cards. Now let's jump into some matches in Pokemon TCG Online and see how well Iconium's Fortification does with the energy boost of Solgaleo-GX in this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match. Alright, Icon of the Palossand's first opponent is found. It is alone. That's sad. Water, Lightning, Grass, and Psychic. So, we do see potential weakness to our poor Palossand in the grass typing of Alone's deck, because of course that is the weakness. I like how they did that. They didn't give it the water weakness, which you might think a lot of fighting Pokemon have, but because of the ability in-game of water compaction, I guess it makes sense water would not be super effective on a Palossand in the card game, and they went with grass instead. So, this is not the best way to start. We do have an unknown in the active spot, an unknown to the bench, but I do have Bridget. If I can find one energy, I can retreat unknown, bring up another bench Pokemon. Oh, we see a Vespiquen and a Flareon deck. Okay. So it's going to be one of those Be Revenge decks, of course. Can we stand up to the power of the Be Revenge? We're not going to take a card. I think I'm good as it is. Oh, so what's this going to be? Is it going to be the Circle Circuit Raichu? There's a lot of things going on in this deck. The Be Revenge scares me the most, though, because, of course, it is super effective on Palossand. We see the opponent play a Trainer's Mail. What are they going to find with that Trainer's Mail? They chose Ultra Ball. Alright, so Ultra Ball probably best played by discarding other Pokemon from hand, eventually powering up Be Revenge. Are we going to see the Forest of Giant Plants as well to speed up evolution into Vespiquen? Who knows? So they play the Ultra Ball, discarding which 2 cards? Lysandre and another Ultra Ball. Okay. And they find themselves a Remoraid for draw support. Alright, if they can get Octillery into play, they can start getting drawing to 5 cards every single turn. Puzzle of Time. Do they play a second one? Does that count as 2? No, just the 1. Okay, so they rearrange the top 3 cards. If I had N, that would be kind of fun to play right now. Because they've already set themselves up for whatever they want to draw at the start of the next turn. So double colorless attached. That is enough for the eventual Raichu Circle Circuit, I believe. We have another basic Pokemon. Alright, so we will drop Cosmog. Probably the best thing right now. I'm going to bridge it and get 3 basic Pokemon out of the deck. I'll grab another Unknown, a Sandygast, and let's grab another... Let's grab another Sandygast. I think that's the best idea right here. Get those 3 down. I will now farewell letter one of these Unknown. Find me an energy. Come on. No, versus Secret Bird. Okay. The second Unknown is going farewell. Find me an energy. No? Okay. So we have another Cosmog, though. That's going to be it. So, this is what I say usually at this point of every match. The game is not giving me what I need. But of course, what can you do about that, right? This might help me, though. Because this hand really is not that beneficial. I could have used the Cosmo M, but as you'll see here, I have nothing to work with. If I could find rare candy... Actually, wait a minute. This is not that bad. What I can do here, I can Ultra Ball for Cosmo M, and then I can Wally into Solgaleo-GX. Only problem there, I need to somehow get a Palossand in play, so I can start doing some massive damage. So they're setting themselves up nicely. They got the Raichu with Circle Circuit. They can do 60 right now, because it does 20 damage based on how many bench Pokemon they have. That's the 60. Alright, we lose our first Pokemon. That is fine, I guess. Cosmog is going to come up active right now. So what do we find? We got a Super Rod. I can shuffle... Yeah, I'm going to shuffle the 3 unknown back in, actually. Let's just do that. All 3 go back in. 3 more draw supports on our side. So, what do I discard? I'm going to... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Nest Ball for one of those unknown right now. And I'm going to use the Farewell Letter immediately. If I find something that can get me more cards, like a Professor's Letter, it'll be some Ultra Ball fodder. No, we got another unknown. Let's just keep this cycle going. How about that? Farewell Letter. Give me something good. Nest Ball. I'll Nest Ball for that last unknown again. This is kind of crazy. But it is speeding through some of the more superfluous cards in the deck, which is kind of good. And we got something not terribly useful at the moment. I'm going to Ultra Ball, the Basic Metal, and the Special Charge, I think. I'm going to grab Cosmo M. We will evolve the active Cosmog, of course. Now, we can't attach the Shield Energy because it's not a Steel-type Pokemon yet, but it's about to be. Let's go ahead and grab Wally for Solgaleo-GX. Now, we can attach that Shield Energy. We're going to do 10 less damage, and let's go ahead and Soul Burst GX. So we're going to attach this Shield Energy to Solgaleo, of course. And let's just start attaching. There's only 3 strong energy in the deck right now. One of them is prized. But we'll keep going here. We'll get this Sandy Gas powered up. If we can somehow manage to get ourselves Palossand, we're going to start dishing out some serious, serious damage. There we go. Now, if they have Lysandre, that would be very, very unfortunate. They could just bring up the Sandy Gas and destroy it. If they have another Benched Pokémon, is the thing. They can only do 60 damage. Okay. So, they can now do 80. Possibly more. Now that we have Skyfield in play, but I can get rid of that with the Scorched Earth. You got Lysandre in the discard pile. No, never mind. They go for N. Sweet. I think they had a discard or a discarded Lysandre, didn't they? They did. But they wanted more cards. Did their greed get the better of them? Not just yet. We do not see another Palossand or anything. We see an unknown on their side. Another Pikachu. Alright. Pretty consistent with the Pokemon that they're using. Remoraid. We have the Combee. That hurts. Only 120. We could take another one of those. That was like nothing. Oh, Timer Ball. Here's where things get interesting. What did I say? What are the chances of flipping both tails? Alright, let's get rid of that. They're going to discard some of their Pokemon from the bench now. Circle Circuit's going to do less damage at this point. I'm going to use the Scorched Earth, discard that Fighting Energy, draw 2 cards. Hopefully find myself Palossand. And if not, I'm going to play Kukui and draw 2 more. No Palossand. So Kukui is going to show me a Palossand right now. Why? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the Sunsteel Strike. Why not? At least take this thing out. Watch the Palossand all be prized. There's one. I'll take that. Okay, what can they hit me with right now? They'll need another double colorless to be able to power up that Circle Circuit. Of course, double colorless also powers up the Be Revenge, which is slightly scary, of course. Sycamore their hand away, draw 7. They can't Lysandre me, at least this is good. Okay. I have Lysandre myself. Do we see a Vespiquen? Because if so, I'm going to bring that one up with Lysandre. I will destroy it with good old icon of our eventual Palossand. I didn't take a look with the trainers, but did they get anything? I think they fumbled the trainer's mail, unfortunately for them. Unless they got something I didn't even notice it. I should pay more attention, I figured, during this battle. So what is the play for them to make right now? Ultra Ball. Show us a Vespiquen. They haven't used the Abyssal Hand yet. So discarding 2 cards from hand, looking like Skyfield Puzzle time. Alright, we see Vespiquen. That is the question. So the downside to the deck that I'm using, I only have one shot at powering up. Oh, I see Raichu. One shot at powering up Solgaleo, or sorry, anybody on the team very quickly, because of course Palossand does take 4 energy to be able to use its attack, and if we lose one of our Palossand, that really hinders us considerably. Oh, they could bleh. Discarding a special energy from one of the Pokemon. There is Vespiquen. Now, do we see a double colorless being added to anybody? We've only lost one, I believe. Yeah, so there's probably still 3 more available to my opponent. A level ball being played. Could be another Raichu in their future. No, Bayonet. Tools have no effect. That's actually fine. This is a rare instance where I did not put any tools in my deck, so that's not going to hinder anything. If you want to evolve that, go ahead, because then you can't bleh away my special energy. So, I'm going to say the biggest threat is probably one of these Vespiquen. The Raichu can do... With no Skyfield in play, Raichu can do 100, but we're going to reduce that by 20 with our ability. Oh, free retreat. Okay, Pikachu's going to presumably take the hit, although we know that's not going to happen. We're going to drop Palossand. I'm going to Ultra Road and bring up good ol' Icona. And let's bring up your Vespiquen before it can do any serious damage to us. And that's all I'm going to play. Boom. Alright, down goes one big threat. Of course, if they have double colorless in hand and a way to get themselves a Vespiquen, that's going to be a problem. If they can't knock out Icona with a single hit, though, I can Versus Seeker for Lysandre and bring the other Combee up. Take that out as well. Their best bet right now, bring up the Raichu, because it has free retreat. They could retreat it back to the bench for whatever else they want to bring up. There we go. Alright, best way to play that. That's one neat thing. I was going to include maybe Float Stones or Switch cards, but I realized with the ability, as long as I can't shut it down, Solgaleo-GX is my free retreat with that ability, Ultra Road. It is awesome, I love it. Alright, now the Unknown could get the Farewell Letter. Then of course, well, their best bet now is to Abyssal Hand first to get 2 cards, and then Farewell Letter to get that 6th card in hand, give them the most options to work with. Or they could just Sycamore, that's another option as well. So this could be the end of Icona. If they have double color, you should have given that to your Combee, unless you didn't get a Vespiquen. See, when I'm playing in, real life battles at the Pokemon League, I'm usually helping my opponent saying, oh, if you did this, you could, be better against me that way. So I like helping the opponent out. It's too bad that there is no interaction back and forth like that in this. I mean, I guess it's okay because it leaves me on the winning side. So we're going to grab Lysandre, we're going to take down that Vespiquen. This could be the end of the match, because the opponent might not have many options left after that. We're just going to absorb Vitality, bring it down, heal up all the way back to full, and take another prize. If the Raichu comes back up, that is fine. I'm going to heal all that damage off again. So Solgaleo-GX puts your Palossand in a good spot. I was talking in the last video about Dragonair that can speed up your energy attachments. I love the fact Solgaleo-GX does that as well with the Soul Burst. Very cool. You can see how quickly it gets things set up that take a lot of energy to attack. So what is next for my opponents? Essentially anything they bring up, I can one-shot with the Absorb Vitality. Even with resistances, I'm doing, what is that, 110 right now? Yes, 110 damage. Nothing can survive that. Not a thing. Team Flare Grunt. Uh-oh. We're about to lose one of my energies. Not the strong energy. No! I can only do 90 damage now. And I have an energy in hand to replace that, though. So you can hit me for another 80 if you like. I'll still be able to heal all that up, because of course we do double damage to Electric-type Pokemon. Abyssal Hand, drawing one more card. Wonder what the purpose of the Eevee is. I would expect Espeon GX, maybe? I'm not sure. Alright. I was going to say, do we have any special charges? I don't think so. We're just going to attach this, go for the attack, go for the heal. Pretty much wash, rinse, repeat at this point. 180 damage to poor Raichu there. That's unfortunate. Not for me, but for them, of course. Okay. Is there anything my opponent can do to pull this around? I don't want to overestimate just yet and say that it's a done deal, because doing that, overconfidence can of course lead to a downfall. So they could have something sneaky up in their sleeve. They haven't even used the unknown farewell letter. There it goes. They must have heard me. I reminded them that it exists. By the way, you like the music I chose? It's awesome stuff. This is, of course, the Solgaleo or Lunala or even Necrozma battle music from Pokemon Sun and Moon. I thought it's kind of a fitting... Why? I have Ultra Road. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. And as long as you can't get a knockout on me. Oh, special charge of their own. Can they get a knockout is the question. Unless they have a lot of basic Pokemon in their hand, which is at maximum 4. Puzzle of Time. Wait, are we going to see 2 of them? Excuse me, I apologize. So I'm going to rearrange the top 3 cards. But once we take the Pikachu down, is there really anything that they can hit us with? The Eevee might be able to do something? If they're lucky? I don't know. We'll see what happens. How they haven't used Abyssal Hand yet? I thought they did this turn. Alright, so that's very clever. They rearrange the cards to choose the 2 that they want to draw with Abyssal Hand. Float Stone. Another farewell letter, unknown, in play. Down it goes. They're drawing that 3rd card that they got to see with the Puzzle of Time. You know what I'd like to see right now? Drop an EX. I can just get a quick knockout. Okay, so you can do 60 damage. If you have another bench Pokemon, you can do 80 and get another knockout. If you have double colorless. Which you did shuffle a bunch back in. Did I evolve this into Cosmoem? I did, okay. I'm trying to see, could I even get another Solgaleo-GX into play. But we're just going to simply Ultra Road. Icona comes back up. Go for the Absorb Vitality. And that's 1 more Pokemon down. 1 more knockout, and we got it. Oh, I got N. I could shuffle all this back in. That's what I like when I have a whole hand of cards like this that I don't need to use, and I'm getting a little bit thin in the deck. I can play N, shuffle everything back in. Suddenly my deck is like this thick again. And I only have a few cards. And again, if I'm not playing anything, I don't even need to make use of the cards. That's that. That is a win with Icona the Palossand Fortification. Using the power of Solgaleo-GX's Soul Burst GX to power up super quick. It's a quick setup and very effective, as you saw, healing back all that damage every single turn. And some stars appear on the screen for some reason. Very cool. So that will be a wrap for this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match number, what was it, 74, I believe it was? Not that I really need to check, you guys already know. I just want to remind myself, yes, it is 74. Anyway, that is a wrap. As you saw, the power of Energy Acceleration with that Soul Burst GX. It's kind of risky to use it too early, because if you set up a lot of energy on a Pokemon like Palossand, and if it does get knocked out at some point, you don't have options to use Soul Burst GX again, so you're going to get back to your standard, attach 1 energy per turn. But if it works out well, as you saw, you can take things down before they can do any serious damage to you. And even when that Raichu was doing 80 to good old Palossand, Absorb Vitality heals all that back off. So I love that combo. Very cool. Taking less damage, healing back damage, adding more power with the strong energy. It's very awesome. And the special energy attachment acceleration of Soul Burst GX. I love how it all flows so well together. But that is enough about me rambling with this deck. If you have any suggestions, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. And if you have any suggestions how to make this deck more streamlined and more cohesive, leave your comments down below, because anyone that wants to recreate this kind of an idea for themselves in the online game or in the actual cards, whatever suggestions you have to improve this kind of a strategy, it would certainly come in handy and help them out in their either online or real-life card matches. So with that, we are done with the Solgaleo-GX video for the week. Now, next week, since we took a look at one legendary, one legendary, the Sunne Legendary, I think we're going to see what we can do with Lunala-GX, my legendary, good old Nebby from Pokemon Moon, and making use of its ability, its attacks. I want to use the Lunarfall GX at some point, knock out one of your opponent's basic Pokemon that isn't a Pokemon GX. So just choosing basic Pokemon, you're gone. I want to do that. But we'll see how things play out. I gotta try to think of a decent strategy, how to speed things up. It takes a lot of energy for this Pokemon to be able to do stuff, but the Psychic Transfer could come in pretty handy as well. So I'm thinking stuff like, max elixirs. Maybe if I can get a Mega Evolution, I can try Mega Turbo, is what I'm thinking. But we'll see if I can find out some energy accelerations without using a GX attack like Solgaleo. But, as I say, that is going to be a wrap. So next week we'll take a look at Lunala-GX. But for this week, we are done with Solgaleo-GX. So again, if you enjoyed the episode, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the match today, the deck strategy, how you can improve it for anybody else out there. And if you want to see some more videos that I have done, there's a link in the description to the full list of Pokemon TCG live online matches. I should go back and check those out someday. I want to see what my older ones, like the very first few videos was not direct capture, it was my camera sitting up facing the monitor. I kind of like when you look back on stuff like that and see how far you've come and how far you've improved your quality of content and stuff. So I might check that at some point, or I just might be too cringy about all that, but I don't know. That's just me in my own time, maybe doing something. But you're welcome to check those out as well. Let me know, how cringy are those old videos? They could be very much so. But there's also a link to subscribe to the channel if you're not currently subscribed for daily Pokemon content, such as weekly Pokemon TCG live online matches. Coming up soon, we're going to be doing some more viewer battles as well. I am dedicating myself to do it, not this Saturday because we do have a Pokemon League Cup challenge at our Pokemon League at Heroes Beacon. But I'm thinking the following Saturday, I'm going to seriously try to set some time aside and do some viewer battles with you folks out there, either in the TCG or in Sun and Moon. That's a possibility as well. But you can also subscribe for other like content such as Pokemon Yellow Randomized Nuzlocke is currently on the go. We usually have weekly Pokemon news update video thingies, although they are more on like a bi-weekly basis now because there's not a lot of news every single week to report on. But we also have, what else do we have? Pokemon Go videos as well. I am getting to the point where I can basically conquer gyms almost anytime I want, as long as I have the healing items. But anyway, Pokemon Go is moving along, and the next episode that I record are going to be a lot of massive evolutions of new species. So stay tuned for that, possibly this weekend coming up. But with all that, we are done here for the day. I want to say once more, thanks for watching today's episode. Professor Chaz is now signing off, and as always, I will catch you next time.